You know, normally I have like a witty intro to these videos, but this archetype kind of left me speechless. Hey guys, Otak here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the brand new archetype that is being released in the new deck build set of Phantom Revengers in the OCG. So we haven't even gotten Justice Hunters yet here in the TCG, and the OCG is already pumping out information on the brand new archetypes for Phantom Revengers, which is their next deck building set, and this first archetype is insane. Before we jump into the archetype discussion, though, I have noticed that a great deal of you that are currently watching this video are not subscribed to the channel, so if you like competitive-based content, deck guides, and more, consider subscribing to the channel, but also don't forget to leave a like on this video and comment down below your thoughts on this brand new archetype, because it's genuinely insane. But if you would like to further support the channel, feel free to join my community Discord, follow me over on Twitch, and use my TCG affiliate link and my Dueling Guard affiliate link. All links will be in the description down below. Okay, so I'm just going to say the archetype name once, and then I'm not going to say it again because I'm going to slaughter it every time. I'm going to assume that this is called Hecatoncheire. Again, I probably just slaughtered that, and that's okay, because I will not be saying this archetype ever again in this video. So, as I have already kind of alluded to, I've read these cards already, and these cards are fucking stupid strong. Like, people be complaining about modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Being like, oh, your turn, more like our turn. Well, this deck says your deck, more like our deck. So, the first monster is Ibuel, level 6 light illusion monster. By the way, these are all illusion monsters, so if you haven't picked up Nightmare Apprentice that just generically searches any, illusion monster, now might be the time to pick it up. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, you can reveal this card from your hand, shuffle it into the deck, then special summon one of the archetype monster from your deck in defense position except Ibuel. Second effect is if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by battle. I'm not going to read this effect every time because this is every illusion monster minus Diabells exactly. And the third effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of the archetype monster in your graveyard except Ibuel and special summon it. This card is kind of like the starter of the deck, as you can tell, because you put it into your deck so you can special out the body you're actually looking for. And then if you link it away or use it as fusion material, because this is a fusion archetype, then you can bring back a guy from the graveyard. So basically replacing itself. So it's a fairly fine card. Next is Yadol. Again, I'm going to slaughter these names, but I'm definitely not going to be repeating that first word because I don't stand a chance. But another level 6 light illusion. I believe they're all level 6 light illusions in the main deck. But you can only use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, you can reveal this card in your hand, shuffle it into the deck, then add one spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Third effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one spell or trap in your graveyard and set it. So, as we talked about in the last video with Dooms, or maybe in the next video, it just depends on the order in which I release these. I've recorded both this and the Dooms reveal in the same day, but we're noticing a trend that I'm not liking from Konami, where these new archetypes have two main deck guys. One adds a spell or trap, and the other one adds a monster if you meet the condition, whether it's summoning, tributing, or whatever. And this is no exception. The first guy we just talked about and this guy, one special summons a guy from the deck, and this one adds a spell or trap from the deck, both of which have to be shuffled back into the deck. And then the third effect is, the first guy, if he's sent to the graveyard, he can special summon another monster from the graveyard. If this one is sent to the graveyard, then you can reset a spell or trap from your graveyard. So I'm noticing, again, the same trend where they have two of the same guys, and it's really creating a lot of less unique decks, in my opinion. Next is Godos, a level 7 dark illusion. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn. If a card is added to your opponent's hand except during the draw phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. The third effect is during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but banish it when it leaves the field. So this is kind of the beginning of the whole our deck concept I just mentioned. So this deck is going to heavily thrive on your opponent's cards, and it gets really crazy the more we start talking about these cards. But basically, this guy and the next one we're going to talk about, if your opponent adds cards to their hand at any point in their turn except the draw phase, you can special summon this from your hand, even on their turn. And then on top of that, they all have like quick effects, and this guy, so it's going to need to pull a monster from your opponent's graveyard, and you can use it as link material, or better yet, you can use it as fusion material. Next monster is Gigas, another level 7 Dark Illusion. You can only use first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If a card is added to your opponent's hand except during the draw phase, special summon this from your hand. Second effect is during your main phase, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. You can special summon 1 excavated monster, also shuffle the rest back into the deck. Bitch, what? I can look at the top cards of my opponent's deck, and then if they got a monster, I get it? I can see this being, like, super great. Like, I can see this deck super punishing people who want to play, like, heavy floodgates, like Arc Lord Christia, because you can just imagine, like, excavating Christia and just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take your Christia, and then you're just not going to fucking play the game. Like, give me. And the last main deck monster is Brius, another level 7 Dark Illusion. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If a card is added to your opponent's hand outside of the draw phase, special summon this card from your hand. Second effect is during the main phase, you can look at 1 random card in your opponent's hand, and if it is a monster, special summon it to your field. So far, and trust me, it keeps going, but so far, I can steal from my opponent's graveyard, I can look at the top 3 cards of my opponent's deck, and I can look at 1 card in their hand, and in all cases, special summon a monster from either of those locations. Yeah, okay. So, even if they don't have anything in their graveyard, because turn 0, special out Brius to get a good look at their hand, because, again, the first guy we looked at can special any of these from the deck, and then these guys will just get bodies onto the board. So get out Brius, and I can look a random card in my opponent's hand, get knowledge of some kind, because if it's not a monster, then I know what spell or trap they have in their hand. But if it's a monster, I know what deck they're playing. And then on top of that, special out Gigas, I look at the top 3 cards of their deck, and again, I know what deck they're playing in turn 0, so I can craft my end board to counter whatever the fuck they're playing. But we're not done, because we're going to look at Jaza, the first fusion, a level 8 Light Illusion fusion monster. It requires 1 of the archetype monsters plus 1 illusion monster, and it must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned from the extra deck by tributing 1 illusion monster and 1 face-up monster you control owned by your opponent. So another trend that we're seeing a lot lately is boss monsters being able to get cheated out without actually meeting their, you know, actual summoning conditions. Biggest culprits, of course, are fusion monsters with like stuff like the pure Azamina from the Azamina archetype, but also like this guy, the Dooms archetype we saw, had a very similar scenario as well. Again, I don't know what order in which I'm releasing these videos, but the fact that this guy, basically, even if you don't have a polymerization or a card to fusion summon these guys, you just use the first monster we talked about, cheat out one of the other guys, look at my opponent's top 3 cards or their hand, summon out a guy from those locations, and then contact fuse into this big motherfucker, which is 2400, 2500, which isn't like super crazy. But then he has an extra effect that during the main phase, you can add 1 of the archetype card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So he can just add any of the cards from the deck to the hand. The second fusion is Xeno, a level 9 Dark Illusion fusion effect. 3 of the in-archetype monsters is required to make this guy. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, you can look at 2 random face-down cards in your opponent's extra deck, and if you do, special summon 1 of them to your field. Oh! Okay! So I can look at the top of their deck, I can look at a random card in their hand, I can look at 2 cards in their extra deck, and in all locations, I can get a monster. And on top of that, if they have a monster in the graveyard from, like, hand trapping me, or because I'm going second, I can get something from there, too! Okay! And then the third effect is, if this fusion summon card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can take control of any number of monsters they control. I can take them all. Just give me. Oh, you have a full board? You, like, used Baron Pop, even though Baron's banned, you used Baron Pop? Give me all of them. Those are mine now. My monsters now. The spell is Tartarus. It's a quick play spell. Love it. Love when the fusion spells are quick play. You know, my shout out to Chimera Fusion, Brandon in Red, etc. Activate one of these effects, but you can only choose each effect of this card's name once per turn. So if you get 2 copies, you can use both effects, but you can only use 1 each. You can't use the same effect twice. If you control a monster, target one spell or trap in your opponent controls, return it to their hand. That's kind of like the weaker effect. It's the second one that's insane. Fusion summon one of the fusion monsters from your extra deck by banishing its materials from your field and or graveyard. If you use face-up monsters you control owned by your opponent, you can treat them as the archetype monsters. The crazy thing here is this deck is super like break board heavy, because a lot of these monsters only can summon themselves out when your opponent is like adding cards to hand. Typically they're not doing that on your turn unless they've already established a board. So typically like you're summoning these cards out on their turn and then stealing shit from like their board, graveyard, hand, extra deck, etc. And then you crack their board by stealing shit from their board and hand again. But then you use this and it banishes the materials. So you're banishing their monsters to make your own. And typically I imagine the one you're going to be summoning is Xeno, since he is the most cost effective. So you're going to be stealing your opponent's monsters, most likely 2 of them, and using like 1 of yours. Or you could like steal 3 of your opponent's monsters from 3 different locations, just banish like all of their shit. And again, this is a quick play. Like, this is able to be used on either turn. Like, that's pretty crazy. I also real quick want to point out that the monsters you're special summoning from these locations, like the graveyard, the deck, the extra deck, and the main deck, they don't have their effects negated when you special summon them. You just special summon them to your field. Like, could you just imagine stealing like an insane extra deck monster and then using its effect to just further bonus yourself? I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but still, like, this is crazy. And we still got 2 traps to talk about, which, by the way, both traps are counter traps, might I add. But the first one is Ibd al Hecatoncheire. There, I said it more than once. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name once per turn. First effect, when your opponent activates a monster effect and you control one of the archetype monsters, negate the activation, and if you do destroy that monster, then you can special summon it to your field. So I'm negating a monster, and then I'm taking it. Okay. Or more for me. Now, you don't get a deck. You don't get cards. Your cards are my cards now. This deck literally just said stealing is legal now, which, by the way, so I don't get banned from Konami, it's a joke. I'm not saying stealing is legal. Don't steal people's cards, everybody. It's a joke. Second counter trap and final card is Yad Al. I'm not saying it again. When your opponent activates a spell or trap and you control an archetype monster, negate the activation if you destroy that card, then you can set it to your field. So they just like made Totally Awesome into a counter trap, essentially. Or 2 different counter traps, essentially. I don't know. This deck's kind of crazy strong. Now, obviously, it's very dependent on what the format's looking like when Phantom Revengers comes out. But, like, this is kind of strong. Like, the fact you can just get a bunch of guys from your opponent's, multiple locations of your opponent's, like, entire deck is just crazy to me. Again, this doesn't scream like crazy combo on your opponent or on your turn, like turn 0. This screams like I can do stuff on your turn to steal stuff, so that way I have advantage on my turn, which is like the concern for me. But the Ibul has ways to get a guy on the board so you can establish something. And on top of that, we have Nightmare Apprentice, which can search any of these, because Nightmare Apprentice can just search any illusion monster, not just like a very restrictive like level or anything. So again, if you haven't picked up Nightmare Apprentice from Legacy of Destruction, now might be the time. And then for my fellow Chimera players, because I'm sure a handful of you are here in my comments right now telling me, oh, this would be great in Chimera. I don't know if it is. So, like, Chimera thrives on running multiple beasts, fiends, and illusions, but this would heavily crack down on most of the illusions. And I can see this deck being an engine, or, like, I could see this entire archetype just being, like, an engine getting played in a bunch of decks. Like, playing one of, like, the 3 guys each that can summon themselves from your hand if cards are added as, like, a going second strategy. So then you can, like, rip cards from your opponent's hand and, you know, their extra deck and their main deck, so that way like you can kind of provide bodies, and then again they can't be destroyed by battle, which is a bonus, and none of them are restrictive. Like, they don't lock you, so like when the turn gets back to you, you can like use whatever you steal as like link material as well. So I can see this being an engine for sure. Like, these cards are very strong, but as an entire deck, aside from the first guy here, Ibuel, I'm not seeing a lot of going first because they are all level 6. It's not like you can just normal summon them. You're gonna have to like tribute summon, which is possible. I won't say it isn't, but not ideal. I am of course curious what you all think, so don't forget to leave a comment down below your thoughts on this archetype, but also don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already and you like competitive based content. But with that, I will see you all in the next video. See ya.